today we have Colonel Prakash Tewari, member expert, appraisal committee, Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change. Thank you so much, sir, for giving you today's time, and thanks for accepting our request and being one of our, speaker for this ET Infra Global Metal and Mining Summit, which is happening on 27th February at Calcutta. Thank you. So first of all, I would like to ask you, the first question is, mining has traditionally been seen as a high impact industry when it comes to the environment. How would you define green and eco-friendly mining, and why is it important today?
Okay, Saloni, as far as anything which has got to be produced requires a raw material. And this particular raw material only comes from the mines. So the mining becomes a very, very critical factor as far as this raw material is concerned. As of now, in the mining, we were using the traditional methods, and these traditional methods have a large amount of impact which they have on the environment, on the water, habitat, and climate change as well. So when we talk in terms of green mining, it basically refers to incorporating some eco-friendly practices and technologies. So by doing so, you are able to involve your renewable energy, you are able to do the recycling of the mining waste, you're also able to minimize the water consumption in the mines and also employ sustainable development extraction practices as well. And that's what green mining is all about.
Okay, thank you so much. So furthermore, my second question would be, how can mining companies improve transparency and trust with the public regarding their environmental practices and etc.?
This is a very, very important question, because when you talk in terms of increasing the transparency, the first and foremost thing that comes is one has to do very, very deliberately the social impact assessments and also the environmental impact assessments. When both these assessments are done properly and thereafter we come up with the EMP, that is the environmental management plan, this environmental management plan along with the EIA and SIA during the public hearing has to be discussed threadbare with the people. And if you are very, very open and take the views of the people as well, then you find that it is not going to create a problem in the times to come in future. Besides this, you also need to put a grievance redressal system in place, because when the operation starts, a large number of grievances come and you need to have a proper mechanism for them. Now, to have this type of mechanism for grievance redressal, we need to have a proper committees. So when I talk in terms of committees, we have got to form committees at the project level, at the plant level, and also at the corporate level. And these are known as sustainability councils. So we need to have a project sustainability council, a plant sustainability council, and also the corporate sustainability councils. And these constitute people from the community, certain environmental experts, and people from the plant itself or from the corporate. And that is how you will be able to come up with a lot of transparency, and you will be able to do all the programs efficiently.
Oh, that's really cool. I mean, thanks for sharing those mechanisms which you have been using for the sustainability. So my next question would be, how do mining companies ensure proper land reclamation after a site is exhausted?
See, eco-restoration of the sites is a very, very important part of the mining operation. So what happens is when we want to start a mine, so a large amount of commitments are given to the people. But we have got to ensure that after the mine is closed, we adhere to those commitments which have been given for reclamation as well. And in some of those good practices I've seen, the reclamation has been done in such a way that these sites have now become ecotourism sites, wherein thereafter these can be converted into some of those eco-tourism activities as well. Besides this, we have also got to ensure that illegal mining does not take place after the mining operations are finished out there. And also, we have got to minimize certain risk as well, because these also expose certain amount of risk, how we are able to do that. And that is what we have got to ensure as far as your land reclamation is concerned.
Thank you so much for sharing this. So my next question would be, how do government regulations influences green mining practices? I mean, how the influence is being happening, when there's government regulations, how do they do it?
See, government regulations are basically put into place so that the corporates are able to adhere to high standards so as to minimize the pollution and also for habitat restoration. So, what we basically try to do through these government regulations is to create a harmonious coexistence between resource extraction and the environmental conservation. So we also understand that there is an economic interest and environmental conservation that is involved. And this is what the government regulations helps to do and helps to regulate this particular issue.
And is these regulations are mandatory, or it's like, I mean, the government is now becoming it a more practical, becoming it okay, we should have it in a practice and all. There is no mandate.
No, no, no. Abhi, now most of these regulations, because it is a very, very systematic way in which the permissions are also given. For example, this expert appraisal committee that we have, in this expert appraisal committee, before a project is taken up also, so we do the due deliberations. After the due deliberations, there are certain terms of references that are given. After the term of references and all those studies, everything has been done. And we do the due analysis of all the social and the environmental impacts. Then only after that, the environmental clearances are given by the ministry to these projects. So as of now, these government regulations are in place. They are being adhered to, and most of the corporates are adhering to these government regulations as well.
Okay. All right. So my next question will be that how has the perception of sustainable mining changed over the past decade, over the past few years?
Okay, but when we talk in terms of sustainable mining, as I said before, is how are we able to lower those type of impacts which it has on the environment? And lowering the impacts basically means is how are you coming up with new mining techniques so that you are able to reduce these type of impacts? How are you coming with certain technology so that you are able to lower the mining waste as well? Using some of these eco-friendly equipment as well, rehabilitating of these mine sites as well. And lastly is also about pushing the envelope. And when I say pushing the envelopes, it is about how do you reduce these carbon emissions, going for carbon capture and storage, and some of these technologies which the mining companies are trying to put into place.
Oh, that's great to hear. So, I mean, if I ask, how do you see this, mining industry and the metal, especially the mining industry, going for next 5 years down the line?
See, as far as the mining industry, as far as concerned, in the next 5 years, I think there are a lot of improvement is taking place as far as the efficiencies and effectiveness of the mining operations are concerned. So most of the mining companies have now understood that they have to go in for these type of sustainable technologies. They have got to go in for this carbon capture, and they have to go in for this ecological restoration, because otherwise it will be very, very difficult to move ahead in the times to come. So most of them are basically pushing the envelope, and now we see that it is more of a proactive approach from their side. When they are doing those type of SIAs, when they are doing those type of
Yeah.
EIAs, they themselves are coming up and telling us, yes, we want to do, you also help us in putting them in the terms of reference and help us in doing it, because we want to go ahead and ensure that we go ahead with these type of practices as well.
That's good. Very small question. After the budget, once the minister have said very good announcement in terms of infrastructure, do you think mining industry is gaining, for those announcement what our finance minister has said that this will happen specifically in the infrastructure sector and relevantly for the metal and mining industry?
Yes, see, any of the infrastructure, the development that has got to take place, the infrastructure requires this type of raw materials. And I said before, where are these raw materials? Others are going to come up. So there is a symbiotic relationship between the infrastructure development and between the mining. They cannot do without each other as they're concerned. So basically, it has got to be a type of a coexistence. It has got to be both of them have got to gel together, and those type of sustainable other practices have got to come into place.
Okay, thank you. So my last question would be, since we are having you, at our event, which is happening on, that's the third edition of ET Infra Global Metal and Mining. How do you think, nowadays there is an requirement of, organizing these events, or creating that platform where all policymakers and government dignitaries and industry stakeholders like yourself and the people from other industry people should gather together and speak about this industry?
See, I'm very glad that your Economic Times is holding these type of seminars and conferences because, first of all, this gives us an opportunity of interacting with different mining companies face to face, also trying to understand what is the type of problems and the processes that they are having in place, and also ensuring what are the type of best practices that can be inculcated. As far as from my side, I basically take it as a type of a learning from them because based on these type of learning, some of them which can be put into policies could be put into some best practices, and so that is what basically I like to attend these type of seminars. No, and it gives it's a great way of learning and moving forward.